After Ohio State wrapped up its third practice of the spring here Tuesday at Woody Hayes Athletic Center, some of those guys stuck around after practice. We're getting some work in, getting ready for Ohio State's Pro Day on Wednesday. As usual, some current Buckeyes will be back out in front of the scouts and the GMs and the coaches taking part, and Marvin Harrison Jr. will be among them. Cade Stover will be among them. So last year at this time, C.J. Stroud did that, kind of got out ahead of his NFL prospect status, and now look at where he is. Stephen, what do you think is the advantage for these young guys getting out there and getting this sort of exposure, this sort of experience?
Yeah, it kind of gets the buzz going a little bit, even if it's short-lived, just because it's not going to pay off for another year. CJ got it a little bit more because he's a quarterback, and that's always a thing. And that quarterback class last year wasn't very good, so people are looking forward to this year. Marvin, unless it's a quarterback, he might be the number one pick in the draft, just how things are shaping out right now. And so it's a chance for people to get their eyes on them. But also, it's a kind of a what-if thing because Jackson Smith and Jigba will be out there. Julian Fleming and Emeka won't be, obviously, as they're dealing with coming back from some surgeries and whatnot. But the fact that you get those two guys, the guy who was one of the best receivers in the country and the other guy who came in as one of the best receivers in the country, you finally get to see them on the field together, even if it is just routes on air. But it's a chance for fans to kind of see that if you're watching it on TV. But more importantly, all the eyes are going to be on CJ and Jackson first. But I would be shocked if some scouts and some coaches didn't at least take a sneak peek at what might be coming later down the pipeline because Marvin Harrison does return as the best receiver in the country next year and is probably the top non-quarterback prospect on the board right now for 2024.
They didn't give us a full list of participants, but Xavier Johnson was mentioned. Jaden Ballard was mentioned. Doug, as you've seen this kind of over the years, this is almost one of the benefits of getting to come to Ohio State is that you're always going to be in that room every spring with an opportunity like this to showcase yourself in a way that maybe doesn't happen at other places.
I'm trying to figure out when they started being able to do this because I don't think you used to be able to have the college guys catch for the NFL guys.
Yeah. I think 2020 they did it because we're in COVID and 2021 they probably just tried to keep people out of here. So you just went with the guys and then they've just kind of settled in on that since then.
I don't know that they just felt because in 2018, that's the thing I want to talk about. In 2018, J.T. Barrett went through his pro day and he threw to two small school receivers and he threw to Brian Hartline because Brian Hartline was the quality control assistant for Ohio State, but he couldn't throw to the other guys. He couldn't, Terry McLaurin, who was still in school, did not catch for J.T. Baird on his pro day. So I think there must have been a rule, kind of like the cream cheese on your bagel kind of NCAA rule, that they must have changed. But the idea of this now, there is this cycle of, it's like you give a mouse a cookie, right? So you start off with, your kid will give a mouse a cookie. So, Justin Fields threw to Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and then the next year, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson were thrown to by C.J. Stroud, and then the next year, C.J. Right, you know what I mean? It's this constant. Everybody 1 year ahead gets to participate in it. So I think the big thing, and I was going to ask Ryan Day a joke question, but we went a little long on Tuesday. Was, are you worried that an NFL team will kidnap Marvin Harrison Jr. while he's running routes during C.J. Stroud's pro day?
Yeah, we've talked to people who said that if Marvin Harrison was in this draft, would the Bears have traded off at number one? He's that good of a prospect. And it's just a precursor to what we're going to be talking about next spring when he is the top prospect in this draft, certainly the top receiving prospect and one of the top overall. We'll be talking about this a lot on Buckeye Talk, but we will also be texting you what we see on Wednesday from Ohio State's Pro Day as it's happening. So get the text 614-350-3315, updates all afternoon from Buckeye Talk.